Welcome back to the F1 2017 career mode here, guys, and finally, I've been talking about it for so long, the major power upgrade has been fitted to the engine, the new intercooler, and that's going to give us the, as near as make no difference, 10 more brake horsepower, and it also means we can finally get that ultimate upgrade, and that engine, that upgrade is going to put us right up there with the Mercedes-powered and Ferrari-powered cars. I am very excited for that upgrade to be applied. Slight problem, it's going to take 6 weeks and going to be here by the Italian Grand Prix, which, all things considered, is probably the best weekend for it to arrive. Because, of course, you know, Italy being the Temple of Speed. But, before we move on to that, we have today's race around Canada, and Canada it's in one of my top 3 favourite circuits. I absolutely love this place. Just the final chicane is one of the most satisfying corners to get right, and just the, you know, the multiple chicanes around the side, big braking zones, just I honestly, there's no part of this track that I hate. On some tracks I'm like, oh, this corner, you know, isn't great, and this corner, no, just love the whole track. And it of course has the legendary Wall of Champions, which hopefully we're not going to end up crashing into this weekend. Obviously it wouldn't be very apt for us because we're not a champion as of yet, but many champions have crashed into it, and many future and non-champions have also done so. But we move in to qualifying. Ultra soft tyres once again. We're running a fresh engine for this session. I used the older engine in the practice session, and we're running a fresh engine for the qualifying session and of course the race. So this sort of lap was more of a bit of a reconnaissance lap, really. Just trying to find the grip on the car, of course, because it looked very green, very overcast in its conditions. So obviously we need to try and do the best job that we can. I think the grip and the car definitely behaved differently than it did in practice. As we now come up to the second chicane, braking just after the 100-metre board, turned in a bit early there. It unsettled the car. I had to sort of lift off, try and bring it round. In the first sector, we were a 10th up on Danny Rick's time. Have we lost any time in the middle sector? We have. We're 5 thousandths of a second up on the Red Bull, but we get the final hairpin looking very nice there. Get a good exit, and we're building up the speed. We of course have the extra grunt in the car. Max Verstappen has now gone fastest in the other Red Bull, so can we try and beat him as we clear 200 miles an hour with the greatest of ease now, nearly 205. In fact, just hitting 205 before the final chicane. Went a bit deep, took a big chunk of curb on the exit. DRS open, charging towards the line. And provisionally, we go fastest by a 10th of a second. That surprised me a lot. Now, obviously, by the time we fast forward, we're down in 5th. But we do have the fastest final sector of anybody. So, having seen our performance in qualifying, I thought, well, I've got to give this another go. So we come in, and we're going to give it everything on this next lap. Annoyingly, other cars were coming out the pit lane. So, are we going to have traffic on this out lap? Maybe. We set the fastest first sector of the session. We're nearly 4 tenths up on our best time. We get a much better exit out the first chicane. We're now, as we come down to the hairpin, over half a second up. Verstappen gets nicely out of our way before the braking zone. We bring it in. We have run it a little bit wide compared to our first lap. And are we though? Hulkenberg's just a little bit too far away for us to get slipstream. But of course, due to the extra acceleration run we had out the hairpin, we're going to get a higher top end speed. Can we get anything off Hulkenberg before the chicane? I hope we don't catch him too much, otherwise it's going to compromise us. We get the entry a lot better this time. Cleaner exit, and we're going to get slipstream all the way up to the line off of Hulkenberg. It's nearly 8 tenths faster than our first lap. It's a 1:12.3. And that is provisional pole position with 15 seconds of the session remaining. I actually for once did a cool down lap, and just as I entered the pit lane, my hopes were crushed by Sebastian Vettel doing a 1:11.8, half a second quicker than anything we could manage. But for the first time in our career, we are going to start on the front row of the grid at one of my favourite tracks. It's going to be a very interesting run down to the first corner. We're ahead of both Mercedes cars. We've got one Ferrari ahead of us. So, the strategy. Now, I did a little bit of research before this one because obviously, in qualifying, you know, normally, and by my own admission, I'm not the best at qualifying. I'm more of a race pace guy. But I did find out you can do a one-stop using the Ultra Softs and Super Softs around here. Now, granted, your Super Softs are going to die near the end of the race, but you're saving like 20-odd seconds by not making that second pit stop. And the tyres aren't really too bad around here, so you can stretch the Ultra Softs at the beginning. So obviously I've gone against the default 2 or 3 stop strategy. I'm going to attempt the 1 stop. I imagine if anyone was going to try that, the AI, they would go ultras to regular soft tyres. But like I say, we're going to do the ultras to the super softs, and well, let's see what's going to happen as we have the orange car lining up on the front row of the grid. It's going to be the outside of turn 1 that we have, but I'm very excited at the potential prospects of this Grand Prix today. Here we go then, Jeff getting us ready, telling us to get ready with the clutch as the final few cars line up. Calm before the storm, 5 lights. And the Canadian Grand Prix is underway. We have got a better launch than Sebastian Vettel. We are side by side with the Ferrari into turn 1. We've gone in a little too deep, but that turns to the inside of turn 2. We squirt the throttle. Can we get past Sebastian on traction? No, his wider exit has allowed him to pull ahead of us. The Mercedes are side by side going into the second chicane there. There's Hamilton fighting Bottas. He's pulled ahead of him, and we are now behind the Ferrari. So Vettel leads off the line. We have retained second place. Hamilton, the lead Mercedes, in third. I don't know what Alonso has managed to do off the line. Now it's about, can we stick with Sebastian through these opening laps where the AI try and get themselves up to speed? Because if we can, we could have a huge opportunity to do something magical this weekend with the car that we've bought up from the slowest or second slowest team at the start of season 1. What can we do? Here we go into the hairpin. So much better on the brakes in the opening laps. Sebastian gets a decent exit, but we are riding his slipstream on this opening lap. What can we look to do? We're gaining on the Ferrari. The major engine upgrade having a huge influence. We're gaining. Sebastian goes defensive. We move to the inside of the final chicane. We brake early to try and get our nose in. There we go. Take the curb. We're through into the lead of the Canadian Grand Prix. This isn't like we've led any race before. This is on merit, not through the pit stop phases. And we've got past Sebastian, and he had a horrible run through the chicane. He's 1.5 seconds behind us as we cross the line, as we check all the data of the car. And you know what? By lap 4, we were still leading. And not only were we still leading, it was comfortable. We're going to cross the line now. You see, Raikkonen's moved up to third. We were setting fastest lap after fastest lap after fastest lap. We've got 5.5 seconds to Vettel. So I then asked Jeff, who are we racing today? So apparently we're only racing the Red Bulls and Danny Kvyat, our rival. I disagree. We come past on lap 8 here. Max Verstappen has retired from this Grand Prix. Vettel's dropped down the order. Raikkonen's now in second. Hamilton third. So I don't know if Vettel had any kind of issue, as we attacked that final chicane very ferociously, and we drifted sort of out of the corner. And we're going to take a look at this in slow-mo. Look at how much curb we just took, and it unsettled the car when I turned right, and the back end just fishtails out with the opposite lock. Just look at that in slow-mo. But beautifully executed. Kept the car under control as we punched it out of there. And come lap 12, we're still in the lead. Now Raikkonen's setting the fastest lap, and Vettel, of course, has made his pit stop. But we're lap 13. This is our pit stop lap. Bottas going faster than us with 14.5s now, whereas our best lap is a 15.4. But we were about 10 seconds in the lead before these guys made their pit stops. And then, just if anything else couldn't have gone better for me in this race, we then get a VSC when we dive into the pits. So no one is going to get an advantage on us through the pit stop. They've all got to slow down and drive to a delta. Perfect recipe. Ricciardo goes past us because he's not making a pit stop. Apologies, Vettel has just come in to fit the soft tyre. So Vettel, of course, like I said, doing that 1 stop. And then the VSC ends right as we come out the pits. So, just the perfect length virtual safety car. Vettel is going to the end. He's on a harder compound of tyre than us. We've got 1 car ahead of us on the road. It's Daniel Ricciardo. He's got to make his pit stop, which he does at the end of lap 14. We're running to the end of this Grand Prix. We've got a huge gap to, or I say a huge gap, multiple second gap back to Perez, who's behind us. He's got to make a pit stop. He's going to be slowing Vettel down till we go to the end of the Grand Prix. Raikkonen's an ultra soft, so it looks like he's running a 2-stop. At this point, I was just very confused. You know, I don't know where this performance has come from. We then get the message that Raikkonen has an issue, so he's not going to challenge us. So we come across the line, 14.3, fastest lap of the race because of how aggressive we took that chicane. And, as you can see, no one's crossed the line. Raikkonen finally does, or sorry, Hamilton finally does, 10 seconds back. I mean, I had nothing to do. I was just sort of driving my race. I don't know if this is like a weak circuit for the AI. I mean, you can see we're still pushing as I hit the wall of champions. No damage done to my car, thankfully. We're coming up on lap 22. We're going to be lapping Carlos Sainz, who throws himself into the wall of champions and knocks his front wing off. And I don't know if I just scared him out of the way or whatever happened there. We're going to see it on a replay just here. But, you know, he takes it fine and then just drives straight into the wall. It was almost like he released the steering, but yeah, so his race is ruined completely. And we now cut on later to lap 30. Obviously, Hamilton's dropped back behind Vettel, whose tyres are obviously staying in better nick than his are because he's on the soft tyre. But we just kept going. Vettel at this point was only 8.2, so the gap has finally closed, and we're getting to the period of the race now where, like I said, our tyres are going to die a little bit due to obviously how many laps we've done on them. Obviously, our pace slowed from mid-14s to mid-15s. We were dropping about a second a lap. But obviously, Vettel being on those soft tyres wasn't really gaining that much. Maybe 8 tenths here, a second there. As you see, we keep coming across the line. I was just relaxing, cruising at this point, honestly. You know, just keeping everything in check, not pushing too hard, trying not to put it in the wall. I don't know what happened, you know. The major power upgrade gave us 10 more horsepower, but, you know, as we see Magnussen and Palmer fighting tooth and nail, so, you know, good for those guys, I guess, for a little bit of entertainment for me, but I just controlled everything this weekend. I drove a race like Sebastian Vettel while beating Sebastian Vettel, and you can see here as I go past Magnussen, I just get it horribly wrong in the first corner. So that was, you know, because Magnussen parked it on the apex, as you're going to see here with a replay. He just goes far too like tight, so I wanted to go around the outside. I just carried too much speed, honestly. But yeah, lap 35. Just taking it nice and easy. Vettel's now 3 seconds behind me. If this race had gone on for about 5 more laps, Vettel would have probably got me, in all fairness. Because he was just that much quicker at the end of the race where the tyres had been going off. But we're going to come through. As we come up to the final chicane for the final time, we are going to come through for our maiden victory of our career mode on F1 2017. And McLaren's first win since 2012. Speechless.
Superb driving. That's the race win.
So, another fantastic victory for McLaren today. So, Ant, how exactly did they set themselves apart from the pack today?
Well, I think the track conditions just really suited their car today. Wind, track temperature, you name it. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature. So the more easily you can keep them there, the better your race tends to go. And that's exactly what happened. Their car just looks so comfortable out there.
And look at that, they're making their way out onto the podium now. Great race from the McLaren team, and I'm really happy to see them there on the top step of the podium.
So much like another fellow British driver, we get our maiden win at the Canadian Grand Prix, mirroring almost the career of Lewis Hamilton. You can see in the Drivers' Championship, Hamilton leads, Vettel second, Bottas third. We have moved up to fourth, surpassing Kimi Räikkönen, and then we've got over double the points of the next driver down, Daniel Ricciardo. We're looking very comfortable so far for what we can do with the championship. Obviously, this appeared to just be an excellent race for us. I can't put my finger on it, but the car just felt great. I don't know if it's maybe just my driving style suits like well around Canada. You can see we're still third in the constructors. We're probably not going to catch Ferrari or Mercedes, but we're very comfortable to Red Bull. So if we can solidify that for the season, I would be very happy with that. But that was the Canadian Grand Prix there, guys. I'm just ecstatic with the result. Like I say, maiden win. We got it round one of my favourite circuits, and it just makes it all the sweeter. We're finally getting some progress, like I say, after that major upgrade. We've got the ultimate one, like we saw at the start of the video. That is now going to be in place in Italy. So from now on, we're going to be focusing more on the downforce, more on the chassis of the car while waiting for that to come out. Please leave a like if you didn't enjoy, and for our maiden victory, and comment any feedback down below. And remember to subscribe to be notified about future content that comes to the channel. I shall see you all next time.